If you've ever spent time with a child, you probably know what nonsense is. Children excel at nonsensical conversations and questions. At times, this can be very entertaining, but ultimately, few adults can stomach an extended and serious nonsensical conversation. It grates on one's patience, it wears you down. Perhaps most importantly, it's a waste of time. So tell me, why do we entertain nonsense when it comes from adults with a gender identity? Why play along with the delusion that biological sex isn't real or that one can consent to puberty? And most importantly, why are we letting nonsensical debates drive legislation and cultural change? Today, I want to go over quite a few TikToks that illustrate the nonsense in the trans community and bring the question, why are we going along with all of this?
Transgender boys who might not have their own money to go buy tampons, if they're provided free in the bathroom, it's a huge plus.
See, she's right about one thing here, and that is that period poverty is a real problem for a lot of women, not just globally, but in the US. I remember when I was in high school, they always went through tampons and pads very quickly, and they were always running low because people never thought to donate that to the school. So on one hand, yeah, I think it's a great thing to have free tampon and pad dispensers in the bathroom, but why would you put it in the men's bathroom? It's a woman's problem to menstruate. Only women can menstruate. No matter how they identify, if you're menstruating, you're female. And to be quite honest, I think if you put menstrual products in the men's bathroom, especially at a high school or something like that, boys would play with it and waste the products. It would be a total waste of time, and I don't see the point of doing that at all.
Men do not menstruate. Only women menstruate. Now, you can call yourself whatever you want.
Cis men don't menstruate, but trans men do menstruate.
No,
Same
they
as
don't.
non-binary people.
Only women.
Menstruating is not exclusive.
This claim is utterly ridiculous because you know what those trans men and non-binary people have in common? They're female. Only females can menstruate. And yet here they are having not even a debate because the begendered thing decides to just talk really loud as if that makes their point make any more sense. And it doesn't. And I'm so tired of having these debates because we have them all the time. What is a woman? You know what a woman is. It's like you're stuck discussing issues at a level for toddlers. And you can never go any further because they think that making you explain things to them in extreme detail is somehow going to win the argument for them, when all it does is just prove that A, they're misogynistic, and B, that they're stupid.
Yes,
To
it
cis
is.
women. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
So explain to me as to why my body menstruated at
If
some
your
point
chromosomes
then.
are XX and you're young, you menstruate. If you're XY, you don't.
Correct, but what about trans men and non-binary?
They're
We're
not men.
excluding a whole group of people
They're
who
women
that
dressed
menstruate.
as men. You are not a man. You can pretend to be a man, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Live your life. Tell me what a man is.
Well, what's a man to you? You define a man for me.
You have chromosomes that are X and Y. That's what a man is.
So why are we just looking at the science of this as an
The
example
science.
when we've learned sex and gender identity are they're completely different things.
They're not.
Sex refers to which gametes you produce, large ones, ova, or spermatozoa, and gender refers to the expectations and roles placed upon someone because of their sex. So sure, they are different things, but they are intertwined. There cannot be extra genders because there are no extra sexes. There are two sexes, there are two genders, and you can't make up any extra categories because there are none.
Completely
They
different
are
things.
completely different.
Completely different words.
And sex is what you're born with, the sexual reproductive organs you have. Gender is what you identify with. They're completely
Well, I don't
different
accept that
things.
distinction. You have to argue for it. You're just giving a conclusion. You're just making it up.
We will probably never see this guy again because he's just a 5th grade teacher, but I appreciate how reasonable he is, and he sounds so reasonable and normal next to these people who are arguing men can have periods.
I am trigender, which means like a triangle, I have 3 genders. Male, female, and non-binary.
First off, I didn't know that triangles had 3 genders. I had no idea. I've been misgendering them the whole time. Secondly, male and female are exclusionary categories from one another. If you are male, you cannot be female. If you are female, you cannot be male. You can't change categories. You are stuck with what you are born as. There is no I identify as, it is you are. I do not identify as a woman, I am a woman. And I don't understand why we're still having this debate. It's like talking to a child and explaining to them how they can't turn into a fairy for real, it's only pretend. But these people don't even have the excuse of being young and cute.
And the difference between trigender and gender fluid is that I feel all three of these genders at the same time.
Wow, you feel stereotypes from two real categories and one made up one all the time? You mean like a normal, complex human being? Wow, you're so amazing and definitely not like all the other teenagers having the same phase.
All the time. It doesn't ever shift or change, or where I feel one gender more strongly than the other, like gender fluid tends to be. Also, I should recognize and accept that a lot of people don't see non-binary as a third gender. They see it as something completely separate from the binary of male and female. But for me, it's like a third gender. Or I guess you could call it a third identity.
This is the other thing. They don't want clearly defined categories. You can't define man or woman or non binary in a way that everybody agrees on, because everyone has to define their gender in their own personal way, which means that these categories are meaningless. If anyone can identify as anything, then the word means nothing. And we're supposed to pass legislation around this concept. We're supposed to change how we speak, how we treat each other around this undefinable concept of yours.
I'm so tired of white cis women being more dedicated to being called a healer than actually doing the work to be a healer. The only thing that you're worried about healing is your bruised ego and being confronted with your complacency in genocide and your obsession with upholding privilege. We do not need more nice white women. Are you kidding me? And stop asking marginalized people to do the work for you because you don't feel comfortable with it. I am so tired of having conversations with white cis women where they're more upset about the fact that they're being called in or called out than the fact that they're harming marginalized people.
This is funny that it's coming from a white woman, one. Two, it just sounds like she's mad at her mom over something really stupid, like asking her to take out the garbage, because she hasn't even actually said, like, what white women have supposedly done that's so awful, that's relatable to genocide. They really love throwing around that term too. Like, genocide has actual meaning, and then they'll point to like legislation where it's like children under 18 cannot go on hormones, which will sterilize them and lower their IQs, or get surgeries. And they're like, this is the same thing as being rounded up like the Jews in the Holocaust. Like, do you guys hear yourselves? I feel like they don't. I feel like they just like talking. They like the sound of their own voices.
The fact that there is literal genocide that they are paying for with the fucking advertisements that they're putting all over Instagram. And these are the same women that are the first to minimize the impact of social media. And also the first to use social media as their business opportunity, to use their voice, to create their community.
Okay, now it sounds like she's complaining about white women having rad femme Etsy stores, and that's somehow funding genocide, which again, you're not being genocided, and it's incredibly rude to claim that you are, when there are several actively going on right now, and there have been many real genocides where the survivors are still around today, but I digress.
So why is it that when in your mode of healing and community and business, why the fuck is liberation not being centered? Y'all are stealing resources and precious energy and precious time from marginalized people because you are not willing to do it yourself. It's pathetic and it's privileged as fuck. You have so much power. Stop pretending that you can play small and get away with it. Step it the fuck up. Your comfort is not a priority here at all.
So that was like a solid minute of her saying literally nothing besides I hate white women despite being a white woman, which is why I decided to not be a white woman by having a buzz cut and taking hormones. After that entire video, I still don't know what the hell she's complaining about. But I just find it really interesting that so many white gender havers are having gender as a way to get out of dealing with their own misogyny, racism, whatever. Like, you are the thing you're complaining about. The only difference is now you have a pronoun somewhere and you think that excludes you from having to not be homophobic or misogynistic or racist. Just, it's interesting how the pot calls the kettle black, but does so while speaking like gibberish.
The problem with being a centrist is you have the left saying, I think trans people deserve rights and shouldn't be killed.
No, the left is saying you have to take part in this religion wherein you have to placate people who have delusions about the ability to change sex, which is an impossibility. You have to allow men into women's categories for sports, academia, changing rooms, bathrooms. You have to ignore that sex-based violence is real, that there's a pattern there. And if you complain at all in any way whatsoever, we will ruin your life. That's what the left is saying, and that's not even all of it.
And then you have the right saying, we want to kill trans people, we want a trans genocide.
It's not true. The only time I've ever heard anybody say we want a trans genocide is people like you making videos about these hypothetical conservatives who want you dead. And that's not the case. Most people, and this includes centrists and liberals and conservatives, do not want men in women's bathrooms because we are aware that men are the primary population that commits violent crime and that women is the primary population who are victimized by sexual assault, rape, and harassment. It's something that we've all known since antiquity. Men rape women. That is the direction that violence goes. And so therefore, we have spaces where women are able to be on their own. And yet somehow, because people say, I think women's bathrooms should only be for women, that's the same thing as genocide to you. It's blatantly ridiculous that anyone takes this seriously because, as I've said, there are real genocides going on. There are many in recent history with survivors who are still living today. And yet for you, you can't come into the bathroom that's not for your sex is the same thing as genocide. It's ludicrous.
And then you're sitting in the middle there saying, both sides have really good points. I don't know, man. I'm a centrist. And that makes you just as bad.
And this is why we have so much trouble with getting anything done in the US. This two-party system where the other party is awful and you can't ever just be someone who's middle ground saying, yeah, I understand both sides of the story. You can't do that. And so you're never going to find a compromise and get anything done. You are the reason why they are lumping in laws where, oh yeah, you can't give children hormones that will ruin their ability to have sexual function or fertility or reach their full IQ, and they'll lump that along with anti-abortion laws. You are the reason why, because we're not allowed to have this middle ground. You are forcing this extremism to occur because here you are saying that people who just want to have women's bathrooms be for women is the same thing as saying I want you dead. It's completely ludicrous to me that you are hearing those words and people say, I think men shouldn't be in women's bathrooms.
Hey, so we're having a real debate right here. I am non-binary. I am a non-binary woman. I have a vagina owner.
You have a vagina owner? Like you don't even own the vagina? Someone else is the vagina owner? Okay.
And my husband tells me consistently that he is a cis man that likes vagina. And that's how he identifies, as a straight cis man. I find it offensive that my husband sees himself as straight.
Well, for one thing, he is. You're female, he's male, he's only attracted to females, that makes him straight. You don't like it because it doesn't validate your identity, but you also think that your identity should supersede what he identifies as, so what you want is more important than his identity, which is very self-centered to me to begin with. And then thirdly, we have gone full circle to where you're trying to claim even straight men are under the LGBTQI blah 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 umbrella because you, a female, identify as a non-binary woman. You still even said woman in the title, so what are you even upset about?
When he's married to someone who is non-binary. I'm not a woman, so you're not straight. You're actually queer. And he won't acknowledge that. He won't give me the acceptance of, yes, I understand we are a queer marriage and I am inherently queer because I am attracted to all vagina owners.
This just in, folks. Men who are only attracted to people with vaginas, aka females, are now queer.
Not just girls. He likes non-binary spectrum women, non-binary people, no gender, that have a vagina.
And yet only females can have vaginas. Only AFABs can have vaginas. Why is she stuck with this stupid debate? First off, it shouldn't even matter to you how someone else identifies, because it's them, it's their personality, it's their identity, not yours. But she's relying on his identity to affirm, to validate her own. And to be honest, I don't even know how long their marriage is gonna last if she's so insistent that her way is the way to go, that he has to be queer because it has to validate her identity, even though he is legitimately just a straight man. I mean, this really shows the coercion within the trans community, and one of the things that I really, really hate is that people take this seriously. This is not offensive. This is not a hate crime. You are fine. You are a straight woman married to a straight man. What's the issue? You are creating problems where there are none.
He just likes vagina. He just does not like penis. So what he's saying is kind of an insult to the LGBT community, honestly. It is to me, that he's not willing to accept our marriage is queer because I'm non-binary and I'm pansexual. He would inherently be pansexual. Am I wrong? Because he likes anyone, not based on genitalia, but he likes them for who they are in the heart. And he likes vagina owners. So what is he? And is this offensive?
See, I think if I watch any more, I might go insane. So I'm going to end it here. So this, dear viewers, is a repart. But I want you to note, everything we heard here today is nonsensical. Why are we giving them any time of day? None of these claims make any sense. They're stupid, they're meaningless, and yet we are stuck debating the stupidest, most basic level conversations because, like children, they don't know when to stop asking, why? And like idiots, a lot of us continue to affirm that, to continue to play the game, to answer these questions like they actually care. They don't. They just want their way, like any toddler does when he doesn't want to take a bath or when there's a cookie. Honestly, that's all this is. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, let me know in the comment section down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.